FAB-Racing.
Lining up on pole will be Matt Birkin, and Matt, who had a brilliant qualifying, topped both Q1 and Q2. Josh Birkin alongside him in second place as the Birkins lock out the front row, with Bernie Hook, championship leader, in third place. Holly Harris, 3 podiums at Clay Pigeon. She will be in fourth place, with Craig Ashell, who we spoke to on Friday, in fifth. Nick Bennett in 6th, with Andy Whedon in 7th. Marco Pandolfo, who's made his way onto the minis, he's in 8th, with Aston Dean in 9th, George Rennick in 10th, with Robert Kitley in 11th, and Neil Skinner in 12th position. But it's going to be a battle between the Birkins, but watch out for Bernie Hook, last season's champion. He'll have his eyes on another victory and extending this huge gap he's got in this title race.
Oh, absolutely, and he's also got the lap record around here as well, so knows his way around Whilton Mill in the dry. But what will he be able to do around Whilton Mill in wet weather conditions? Leading the championship, as you say, by a hefty 93-point lead ahead of Andy Whedon. Birkins. Will Howarth again not here this weekend, so he'll drop further down the championship. He's 4th in the championship at the moment after dominating at Lydd. He's losing out on points here once again, but you can just see there the Matt Birkin lining up on pole position, and Josh Birkin will be joining him very shortly as well. Nick Bennett also you can see lining up there, but it's the 2 Birkins that are leading this race. We saw a nice set of new leathers there for Matt Birkin in the dry, but he's opting not to get them wet in this race, and he's gone back to his old leathers for this one. So Matt Birkin with the black and orange leathers, and Josh Birkin with the blue and orange. That's how you can tell them apart around this circuit, both with black helmets and both similarly liveried bikes. Matt Birkin, who ran away from us earlier on in the weekend when we tried to get an interview, but he'll be looking to run away in this race as his eyes go to the lights for this race 1 for the Senior Minimotos. The lights are on and they are now off, and they're away. Lots of legs flying as they head into turn 1 for the first time. It's a brilliant start from Bernie Hook, but it's Matt Birkin who holds on to the lead. The number 4 ahead of the number 0, and Josh Birkin just dropping down into 3rd place. Nick Bennett also looking really menacing there as well. Simon Huntingford rather further back, and that's the number 4 of Matt Birkin, who's gone down at Christmas Corner. We saw how treacherous it was for the junior riders, and now it's taken out Matt Birkin as well at the front, but it's so that promotes Josh Birkin into the lead of this race ahead of Nick Bennett. But Bernie Hook now moving into 2nd place as well.
Yeah, it's a great start there from Josh Birkin, the number 4. Number 5, sorry. But yeah, you can see already it's the adults as well as the youngsters getting caught out in his wet weather. But Bernie Hook, great start off the line. Got those legs moving, got the bike moving, and up into 2nd position. But yeah, Christmas Corner coming a cropper for several of the riders already. And you can see this top 3 already with a breakaway of, a good 3-4 seconds over Holly Harris, who's in 4th position. She's got the number 4 of Josh Birkin behind. So Josh, who will be looking at recovering after that fall at Christmas Corner, sweeps the outside. We'll see if he gets past very soon, but it is across the line. It is the number 5, Matt Birkin, in the blue and orange leathers. Bernie Hook dropping to 3rd place there with the inside line for Nick Bennett. So Nick Bennett, who did the fastest lap on the first lap, with 1:12.264. 1:12.2, sorry. So yeah, Nick Bennett up into 2nd place. Bernie Hook, once again, like we've seen before, he's very patient, isn't he? He doesn't rush in these early stages. He just bides his time. He knows that he's got this title. He just needs to pick up points. Yeah, and in conditions like these where we've seen a lot of crashes on Minimotos, he doesn't need to risk anything. He's got a 93-point lead in the championship, so he can just pretty much cruise around in 3rd place and just pick up points and just make sure he's finishing these races relatively consistently. But Nick Bennett putting a really strong pace and looking like he's challenging for the lead of this race, getting right up alongside Matt Birkin at the front, so looking real menacing. Nick, you can see on the back of his leathers there, looking a little bit further back of the 1 through 7 of Aston Dean, fighting out with Robert Kitley, but back at the front it's the number 5 there of Matt Birkin, who's defending this lead from Nick Bennett. Yep, great run so far for Matt Birkin, but Nick Bennett is looking pretty mighty in these slipperier conditions, and he's going to look at making a run once again on the number 5 machine, and around to the outside into turn 6. He's going to get a cutback. Does he get the drive on the exit? As you can see, the two looking at each other in towards the next corner, and once again the number 5 sweeps to the inside, but the two looking at like who's going to break first, but it is Matt Birkin that holds his nerve and holds off Nick Bennett for another few corners. Nick Bennett head down, trying to stop as much drag as possible, gets right in the toe of the bike in front, but he's going to, I'm sure, have another go. I say as he goes down at the boot, so second place man down at the penultimate corner. That's going to promote up into second position Bernie Hook. So Bernie Hook now up into second place. That's going to leave Matt Birkin free, who does a 107.4, the fastest lap of this one. So Bernie Hook and Josh Birkin now up into second and third. Nick Bennett down to fourth.
Yeah, and whilst we've been focusing on that battle out the front, Josh Birkin has been recovering from his crash he had at Christmas Corner, and he's closing down Bernie Hook now. So Josh Birkin looking like he wants to take second place away from Bernie Hook. He's right on the back wheel of the number 0 now, as you can see, as they go down into turn 6. Who's later on the brakes? It is the number 4 of Josh Birkin, who takes that place away from the number 0 of Bernie Hook. Matt Birkin still out front.
Yeah, great move there from the number 4 on Bernie Hook. So he's just got to keep it on 2 wheels now for the final 6 laps of this one. Well, 5.5 we'll give it, because across the line will come back Matt Birkin very, very shortly to start the next lap. And he's got a pretty decent lead at the moment, so nothing too much to worry with the fact that we saw Nick Bennett go down at the penultimate corner last lap. But you can see the gap now between Josh Birkin and Bernie Hook is extended. Back on the pace though comes Nick Bennett. He's starting to close in on Bernie Hook for this podium. So, but there is your race leader. That's Matt Birkin out there on circuit, the number 5, and he is doing a stellar job to hold on to a pretty big gap at the moment. Bernie Hook is falling into the clutches of Nick Bennett. So Nick Bennett, after that fall at the penultimate corner, is hoping to recover back to a podium, but it's the number 5 that has a quick glance behind, and it's the last person you want. It's the other Birkin. So we expected these two to be up the front, and they're not proving us wrong.
No, absolutely. Both showing blistering pace at the front of this one. And as Matt Birkin looks behind him, tries to see where his brother is. If it looks to me as if Matt Birkin's just slowing up a little bit now, so I don't know if he wants to have a little bit of a battle with his brother, or if he's running into some troubles, some problems here. He's looking behind him, and it looks as if Josh Birkin's closing in a little bit there. And that's Josh Birkin down at the boot. So Josh Birkin suffers from another crash, straight back on the bike and straight into this race, back into this race. Nick Bennett now takes that second place away from Josh Birkin. Nick Bennett, another rider who fell victim to the boot as well. So not a corner we've seen loads of riders going down this weekend, but we've seen 2 riders in this race go down at the boot.
Yeah, and Bernie Hook obviously has fallen right down. So Bernie Hook possibly with an issue in this race, because he's fallen down another position, with Nick Bennett promoting himself up. Nick Bennett setting a blistering pace, 107.3. He's 2 seconds lap faster than your race leader Matt Birkin. But it's once again it's Nick Bennett that's seemingly enjoying these conditions when he can keep it upright.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's setting a real blistering pace, or 107.3 on that last lap, which is quite a bit quicker than Matt Birkin, who set a 109.1. Nick Bennett, we can see in the shot there, Nick on the back of his leathers, number 711, who's absolutely flying in this one. You can just see him there on the red bike, closing down the race leader. But so is Josh Birkin a bit further back. He's absolutely flying as well, and going with the number 711 of Nick Bennett. Nick Bennett in your picture now, coming on to the back straight and closing. You can visibly see that gap has come right down, so 1.4 seconds it is between them, and it's Matt Birkin then who's coming under pressure now from the number 711 of Nick Bennett. Josh Birkin also doing a brilliant job to cling on to third as well.
Yeah, as we've got the top 3 the top three all in the same picture. It's Matt Birkin from Nick Bennett from Josh Birkin. So this is going to go right down to the wire. We've already seen in lid as a quick glance behind is your race leader Matt Birkin as he looks over his shoulder to see Nick Bennett closing in, and equally Josh Birkin going with him. But we've seen in lid that this can go down to the final laps in wet conditions, because seemingly in lid no one wanted to win the race, but there you go. It's Birkin from Bennett, from Birkin from Bernie Hook, who's dropped right down the order, 11 seconds down now. So the timing screens has been updated, and you can see Matt Birkin is your race leader, 106.8 last time around. That was the fastest lap of this race, and we've got it was on the second to last lap of this race. But Matt Birkin, Nick Bennett, Josh Birkin, all within 2.5 seconds of each other. Nick Bennett not quite as fast, so Matt Birkin possibly just turning the wick up a little bit, seeing that Nick Bennett was charging behind.
Yeah, I wonder if Matt Birkin was just playing with him a little bit there. His pace dropped off by quite a bit. He went down into the 110s, like a 110.9 on one lap, and really slowed up, and then now has absolutely put the hammer down and put in a 106.8, the fastest lap of the race, and almost a second quicker than Nick Bennett on that last lap. So Birkin perhaps letting them think they have a chance, and then just putting the hammer down and crushing their hopes and dreams with almost one lap to go now as they come into the final corner for the penultimate time, as Matt Birkin goes on to start the final lap in this race. A little bit of a tall order for Nick Bennett to make his way through on Matt Birkin, but what can Josh Birkin do about the number 711 of Nick Bennett in second place? Very close behind. You could see Josh Birkin doing everything he could down that back straight to reduce the drag and try and make sure he can get right on the back wheel of Nick Bennett, and you can see they're right together in the background, but it's the number 5 of Matt Birkin coming up to some lap traffic. Absolutely has been dominant at the front of this one, but who's going to take that second place? Will it be Bennett or will it be Birkin?
Birkin's going to have to navigate around the outside. It's probably not where you want to be, but manages to get around the lap traffic there. But behind Nick Bennett and Josh Birkin are battling out for second position. Nick Bennett last lap was 106.4, which was the fastest lap of the race, so exactly what he needed to do to hold off a charging Josh Birkin. They're going to go side by side with 2 corners left to go in this one. Just one opportunity left, but it's going to be that man, Matt Birkin, who's back after a round away. Look to the camera as he comes across the line, has a glance back, and he's going to take the victory. Up to the line comes Nick Bennett. He's going to hold off Josh Bennett and hold on to second position. Arm up aloft for Matt Birkin. He takes a win in the rain here at Whilton Mill, holds off Nick Bennett and Josh Birkin, who were battling away. The gap between the pair of them was half a second across the line.
Yeah, brilliant race then from Matt Birkin, who takes away, he took pole position and now taken a win here at Whilton Mill for race 1 for the Senior Minimotos. That's going to be his second win of the season and his 5th podium, which is pretty impressive considering he missed round 3 last time out at Clay Pigeon. So racking up the points is Matt Birkin, but it's Bernie Hook as well then, who's going to maintain that championship lead, I think it's safe to say, with a 93 point championship lead. I believe he finished down in 4th spot, so just picking up some points, making sure that he's staying fairly consistent and finishing. So Bernie Hook down in 4th spot, quite a distance away from your leaders, but picking up points nonetheless, and that's what it's all about for your championship leader. But Matt Birkin, you can see, absolutely delighted with that, popping wheelies onto the back straight as they head into the paddock. He'll be happy with that one. Here it is confirmed then, Matt Birkin it was who took the win ahead of Nick Bennett and Josh Birkin in 3rd place. Bernie Hook, as we said, in 4th, ahead of Holly Harris, who took her first win at Clay Pigeon, ahead of Ashel, Dean, Kitley Whedon and Pandolfo, rounding out the top 10.
Top 3, half a minute ahead of anyone else. That's fantastic pace from those guys. Brilliant. Bernie Hook just knowing, although that's only the second time this season he's finished off the podium. So, surprising to see Bernie half a second down, but possibly just looking at the championship rather than picking up medals and wins and podiums.
Yeah, I think so. Just playing it safe in this one was Bernie Hook, and that's all he needed to do. 4th place, he's still going to pick up some decent points from that, and he's definitely still got a nice comfortable lead at the front of this one. I think it's safe. to say.
Nick Bennett had a great race, starting in 6th, came up to 2nd, and was fighting for the lead until Matt just pulled away in the final stages. But it will be Matt Birkin on the pole with Josh Birkin alongside him. Bernie Hook, the championship leader who finished in 4th yesterday, will start on the 2nd row alongside Holly Harris, who of course picked up 3 podiums last round at Clay Pigeon, including her maiden win. Craig Ashall, who we spoke to on Friday, is in 5th with Nick Bennett, yesterday's 2nd place man, in 6th. Andy Whedon in 7th with Marco Bandolfo in 8th. Aston Dean in 9th with George Rennick rounding out the top 10. And on row 6 in 11th is Robert Kitley and Neil Skinner.
I'm starting to feel a little bit of deja vu as we start to begin this race. As we saw at Lid for the Senior Minimoto race, it started to spit. The rain started to come down very lightly onto a relatively dry track, and it was crash central back at Lid, so possibly some exciting action to come here in the Senior Minimoto race. Like you say, the 2 Birkins out the front yesterday were absolutely dominant. A few crashes from them, but it was Matt Birkin that took that win ahead of Nick Bennett and Josh Birkin. 12 riders on this grid here, ready to do battle in the Senior Minimoto Race 2 here at round 4 Whilton Mill, the halfway point of the season for the Senior Minimotos, and a few riders missing. Will Howarth missing from this grid. We saw he was a dominant force back at Lid. Missed Clay Pigeon as well, so he's dropping down the standings. The 2 Birkins weren't at Clay Pigeon, but they are here this weekend at Whilton Mill, and their attention is on race 2 for the Senior Minimoto class. Their eyes will go to the lights, and they get a good start as the number 4 and number 5 of Matt Birkin barrel into oblivion for the first time down into turn 2. The number 0 of Bernie Hook, they see with the visor open, just making sure he can see where all the grip and where the water is on this circuit. Simon Huntingford tucking in down that back straight as well, but it's Birkin, the 2 Birkins out front ahead of the number 0 of Bernie Hook.
Holly Harris has had a poor start. She's falling down through the order. Brilliant start once again for yesterday's podium sitter Nick Bennett. He's made his way up through the field, but it is you can see on screen there Bernie Hook, as you say, visor up, just trying to give himself the best view of Josh Birkin. But Matt Birkin in those brand new leathers that he's showing off today. He didn't have them on yesterday, but we're not going to miss him. But there you go, tucking the knees in, whilst the number 4 Josh Birkin decided to keep them wide open, so completely different riding styles from them. But Bernie Hook behind is currently in a podium position, but already you can see Matt starting to build a gap.
Nick Bennett down in the background. He crashes out and just picks up the bike before it can get any damage there. So that's the number 7 of Nick Bennett, who's crashed out at the boot. Restarts this race. He picked up a podium yesterday, 2nd place. Was also looking really strong for a victory as well. But you can see this far end of the circuit looks still pretty dry, Gareth. So we're having bits of rain in some parts of the circuit, but not in all. So very difficult conditions for this Senior Minimoto races. Bernie Hook has a look up the inside and makes it stick. A brilliant move going through turn 5 for Bernie Hook. 4th place yesterday and looking determined to get himself back onto the podium today.
Lifting the front tyre on the exit of turn 6 there, and Bernie thinking, well, it's dry, so I'm going to give it a go today. He took it easy and picked up some good points for his championship yesterday, but now closes and passes Josh Birkin for 3rd position. In fact, did the fastest lap last time round with 1:07, but Matt Birkin has somewhat checked out at the moment, so we'll see if Bernie can close him down. You can see Matt's going to have a good couple of second lead as they come across the line and go with 6 laps left, and the gap across the line is 2.6 seconds. So Bernie Hook now in 2nd position. Holly Harris is on a bit of a recovery ride after starting slowly. She's down now to 5th position behind Craig Ashall. So Craig's made a
and that's
Nick
Bennett down again at the final corner. So 2 crashes for Bennett in this race. We've seen the final corner take out a lot of riders, and now that's Nick Bennett who's suffered from 2 crashes in this race. Not the way that the yesterday's 2nd place man wanted this race to go, but that's Craig Ashall just making a move on Holly Harris there up the inside, but Holly Harris drives away on the straight just after it. It's a bit lighter than the ominous figure there of Craig Ashall, so he's just able to get the power down those straights and have a little bit of advantage down this way. You can just see her pulling away as they go down the back straight. straight into turn 9. So using that size to her advantage in this Senior Minimoto car. She moved up from the LC40 Elites into the Seniors and really coming into her own in this class.
Yeah, very much so. It was great to see her challenging up the front for podiums, but I think pulling away was an understatement there. It was almost like she had a rocket underneath that bike on the exit of the turn 8 Oziers. But there's the battle here between Josh Birkin and Bernie Hook. So they're still battling over second and third position. Bernie now relegated back down to third, but we know that he likes the inside line here at turn 5. Is he close enough to get up the inside? Not quite, but back up into second goes Josh Birkin. Matt Birkin now just riding away. 4.2 seconds up the road from this trailing pair, but Bernie Hook once again will reset, and I'm sure we'll be having a go at trying to close in and pass Josh Birkin, the number 4, that went down a couple of times yesterday, but still managed to come back and finish on the podium.
Yeah, that was brilliant to see. There was quite a few riders went down yesterday, and Birkin managed to go down, get back on, and still finish on the podium. So definitely he'll have been happy to pick up some points for the championship and a podium result there. But Bernie Hook, your championship leader by quite some distance at the moment, all over the rear wheel of the number 4 of Josh Birkin. So this battle for second place really hotting up as he looks to the inside, going down into Christmas corner, and he's got the inside line. Will he be able to make it stick? Yes, he does. Just shows him a front wheel, makes his way through, runs a little bit wide as they head down towards turn 5, but takes that second place away from Josh Birkin, and now a tiny little bit of breathing space as they go down into turn 6.
Very nice, clean riding from the pair of them, just giving each other enough space around Christmas corner. Very tricky corner, has caught out a lot of riders this weekend, but Bernie Hook now up into second, of course, reigning champion here in the Senior Minimotos, and looking pretty well placed to do it again in the 2020 season with the likes of Matt Birkin. Will be picking up points, but yeah, coming into this one, Bernie Hook was now up at 202 points and Matt Birkin down at 119, so Bernie's got a big old lead to hold on to through the rest of the season. Josh Birkin up to 107 points. Holly Harris up to 99, moving past Andy Whedon, who was promoted down from second in the championship to 5th overnight. So that shows you how close it is in the battle between second and 6th, with Will Howarth holding up that position there. But there is your race leader, Matt Birkin, in those brand new leathers he's decided to show off for us on the 5 bike, and he's the one that ran away from us on Friday. So, but he's now trying to drive away from us as he's on that bike, as he just makes his way around the infield here at Whilton Mill, and he is coming up to lap traffic now. So it's been a great race once again for Matt Birkin.
Yeah, and we'll be coming for Matt Birkin next time out at Ello Park for an interview, as he ran away quite quickly when we pointed the microphone in his direction this weekend, doing a brilliant job out the front, and like we were saying earlier, the number 0 of Bernie Hook, really consistent out the front, and that's why he's got such a mammoth lead in the championship. He's had 4 wins. He's only been off the podium twice, and those 2 times he's been off the podium, they've both been 4th place finishes. So that kind of consistency is exactly what has created that incredible championship lead that he has out the front. He's been helped by the fact that Will Howarth and the Birkins weren't at Clay Pigeon, and Will Howarth not here this weekend as well. So a few of his championship rivals missing some of the races, but they're back here and they're doing a brilliant job out the front of this race. The number 5 of Matt Birkin just controlling the race at the front beautifully. A 5.3 second lead over Bernie Hook, with Josh Birkin in 3rd place still at the moment.
Just over a lap to go here in this second race of the weekend for the Senior Minimotos. The battle for second is still going on between Bernie Hook and Josh Birkin. Holly Harris is holding on to 4th position, but Bernie Hook, well, I'm sure, as you say, he's been just ridiculously consistent this season. You can see why he's the reigning champion as they take the last lap flag. And but there is your race leader, knees tucked in up the hill as he makes his way up towards Christmas corner for the final time here at race 2, and that is Matt Birkin as he tucks in once again for the downhill section as they come down through turn 4 into turn 5. It's been a controlled and calm race for Matt. He got to the front and as you say, just disappeared off into the distance. He's now got almost a 6-second advantage over Bernie Hook and Josh Birkin, who have been battling out for second place. But Matt Birkin is going to look at doubling up on that race victory that he took yesterday and doing it in, once again, sensational style. He was the only one to not go down hard yesterday in the tricky and challenging conditions in the wet, and this time in the slightly drier conditions, but still quite greasy. He's going to make it 2 from 2 this weekend. Matt Birkin up to the line. He's cruising, barely even on the throttle. He takes the checkered flag and bows, and down goes Josh Birkin at the final corner, pushing, and that's going to hold up. And now comes Bernie Hook. It allows him into second. Josh Birkin trying desperately to get past Bernie. Just unfortunately lost adhesion. But there is Matt Birkin, your race winner. And what a race from the 5. Bernie Hook all come home in second. Josh Birkin, he does like to go down and put on a show for us, and final corner, but he does come back and hold on to that 3rd place.
Yes, that's both races now that he's been able to go down, get back on and still finish on the podium. So really impressive stuff from Josh Birkin. Very lucky that he had a gap behind him to Holly Harris, and Holly wasn't able to catch up in time to take that 3rd place away from Josh Birkin. So Holly Harris it was in 4th place behind Birkin, Craig Ashall in 5th on the number 81 ahead of Aston D, Nick Bennett and Robert Kitley rounding out your race in this one. 8 riders finished this race and it was a brilliantly entertaining race from Matt Birkin, the number 5, with those brand new leathers, just showing us exactly what he's capable of. 12 riders ready to do battle here for the Senior Minimoto race 3 of the weekend, round 4 at Whilton Mill. It's Nick Bennett, it looks like, who's stuck at the end of pit lane, so he missed the cut-off to get out for the formation lap, so he's going to be starting from 3rd place on the grid, and Matt Birkin just teasing him there at the side of the circuit. So Nick Bennett's going to be starting from pit lane. He had an unlucky race in the last one, but picked up a podium earlier on this weekend. He would be lining up on 6th spot, but it will be a pit lane start for Nick Bennett. All these riders then now lined up on the grid and ready to get this Senior Minimoto race underway. It will be Matt Birkin looking to pick up his 3rd victory this weekend.
Yep, it'll be Matt and Josh Birkin off the line. You can see both of them there. The clash of the titans between Matt and Josh Birkin as they put their eyes to the lights and look and get ready for their 3rd race of the weekend. Watch out for Holly Harris and Bernie Hook behind, and a charging Nick Bennett, but off the line goes Josh Birkin. Can he sweep around the outside? He's going to give it a go against Matt Birkin, but Matt Birkin holds on to position. Bernie Hook was having a look to Josh Birkin and trying to make a double move, but it wasn't quite on. But yeah, Matt Birkin holds on to lead. Josh in second, Bernie Hook, Holly Harris round out the top 4. Great start once again from Matt Birkin. Now it's on the chasing pack to catch him.
Yeah, now it's all down to the guys behind to be able to close in. As you see, Craig Ashall making a move further back, and he goes down. So that's Craig Ashall out of this race. We spoke to him earlier on this weekend with the all-black leathers. He's getting back onto his bike and restarting this race. So not the start to the race that he will have wanted, but it's the 2 Birkins that are breaking away at the front, the number 5 and the number 4 of Matt and Josh Birkin. It's Matt that leaves over Josh at the moment, but Josh got the drive after a big moment through the boot there for Matt Birkin, but then gets a brilliant drive out the last corner and retakes the lead as they head into oblivion.
Yes, Matt Birkin can have a big moment on a bike and immediately just recompose himself and back up the inside of Josh Birkin into the final corner. So back on the pace and back underway. So he didn't actually manage to lose the lead across the line. So great bit of bike control there from Matt Birkin, as we've got a bike down at turn 1, it seems, as that's one of the bikes down. It's a tricky corner. We noticed this morning it was very slippery down there in the wet. It may still have some residual fluid down, but Matt Birkin is still holding onto this one. Josh is doing a much better job at staying with him, Matt Birkin showing off those brand new leathers this weekend, and the number 5 and the number 4 are chasing each other down across the line. Andy Whedon set the fastest lap last time round with a 1:01.009 as he tries to close in on Holly Harris, who we were told is the first ever female race winner at FAB-Racing. So it's a huge accolade there for Holly, and she's currently, there you go, on screen, circulating now in on 4th position behind Bernie Hook. And closing on Bernie, of course, she did battle with at Clay Pigeon for a couple of wins just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Writing history in the FAB-Racing British, the Minibike British Championship history books here. But doing really well to stay on the back of the number 0, Bernie Hook. Bernie with some different set of fairings out on this race. A gold bike that he's out on in this one. Probably just celebrating his championship win before he's even won it.
Yeah, well, he has got a commanding lead in this championship at the moment, and with the Birkins missing Clay Pigeon and with Will Howarth not here, Bernie Hook has extended his lead to almost 100 points. So you've got to think, if you can hold on to this podium, that it's just making sure you pick up those consistent points. But Holly Harris is not giving up, and equally Andy Whedon in 5th position as well is not giving up on this final step on the podium. Bernie Hook currently with a 0.2 of a second gap between himself and Holly, and equally half a second back to Andy Whedon. But Holly's got a really nice run. You know that she's super quick due to that extra weight that she's not got compared to Bernie Hook, and she had the run up the hill, but Bernie just about managed to get the outbreak into the Christmas corner. Holly having a slight wobble in the exit turn 5, but she's going to close in once again. But this is a good showing from Holly, closing on Bernie Hook, and Bernie just once again just having a controlled race out there. As you see the bike to the side with it looks as though an issue, or just about getting started, something dangling from the bottom there. But yeah, it's once again Holly Harris and Bernie Hook going at each other in Clay Pigeon. Once again she goes up the inside into turn 9, gets the move. So good move there from Holly Harris.
Yeah, brilliant stuff to get up into a podium position for Holly Harris. She took a couple of podiums back at Clay Pigeon and a win, and now looking strong to pick up a podium here at Whilton Mill. That's the number 7 there of Andy Whedon making a move up the inside of Bernie Hook now. So Bernie dropping through the order, perhaps those gold fairings slightly heavier than the fairings he's used to.
Yeah, absolutely so. The weight of the pressure of this championship lead is clearly weighing him down, but it's now Andy Whedon is chasing down Holly Harris. He's got a nice run into the hairpin. Does he have to look to the inside? No, Holly closes the door on him. Matt Birkin last time around set the fastest lap of 56.490, half a second faster than anyone else. Josh Birkin drops back to 1.5 seconds from Matt, but it's Birkin 1-2 once again. Holly Harris in 3rd, with Bernie Hook now behind Andy Whedon, and is currently circulating in 5th position. You can see Andy Whedon, nice run here at the exit of the boot. Can he get a run on Holly? But of course, as we said, the weight advantage goes in Holly's favour, especially down these 2 straights, and the main straight and the back straight. So this is where she can extend that advantage, and maybe into the slower corners where the weight might help you. She gets this nice run, especially up this hill here towards Christmas Corner.
Yeah, and that's we know that that bike she's on is a really competitive one there. That Blatter won the LC40 Elite Junior class last year with certain Johnny Garness on that bike. So we know that bike is capable of doing the business, and so is the number 15 of Holly Harris there. And Andy Whedon doing a good job there. The number 7, who has been a little bit absent in terms of podium pace so far this weekend, but really putting the hammer down now. Was 7th on the grid, so he's climbed his way up in this race. So the number 7 from 7th on the grid, doing a good job to be in podium contention at the moment. The only time Bernie Hook has finished off of the podium has been in a 4th place at Lydd in the wet, and earlier on today. So looking as if not the race that Bernie Hook is wanting at the moment.
No, we've been saying that it's maybe the tactical game, just playing the long game, just picking up consistent points, and that's what takes championships, is making sure that you just make sure you finish and get to the end. And so I'm sure that one missed podium here and there won't disappoint him too much. But the gap at the front is closing. Josh Birkin has taken 0.8 of a second out of Matt Birkin over the last 2 laps, so the gap is closing. He says right close. Josh Birkin has a big moment coming out of turn 8, but he's close right up on Matt coming into the penultimate lap as they come around to second to last corner. And yeah, Josh is really starting to put the pressure on Matt now as they come across the line. That gap was 0.8 of a second. It's now down to 5. So with 2 laps left to go, can Josh Birkin look at spoiling Matt's perfect weekend as he looks to go for the hat-trick, the perfect 3 from 3? And up the hill they go for the second to last time and into Christmas corner. Matt Birkin, he's probably going to have a quick glance behind him and just see that Josh is closing in. The front of that bike just wiggling around for Matt Birkin, but he's just about holding on to position. 0.5 of a second. This is going to get tasty towards the end.
Yeah, and with just under 1.5 laps to go in this race, Josh Birkin's gone down. He nearly saved it, Marquez style, but he's crashed out of this race. He's back into second position then. So dramatic stuff with 1.5 laps to go. The turn 7 caught out a rider earlier on, and now it's caught out the number 4 of Josh Birkin, but he rejoins in second place. So that gives Matt Birkin a hefty lead at the front now as he goes on to start the final lap of this race. What a moment in that race there at turn 7, Gareth.
Yeah, if you had Josh Birkin going down in FAB-Racing bingo, then you can tick it off, because we've seen it in all 3 races so far, and a real shame for him. He was really starting to put the pressure on, but one person that is putting the pressure on is Andy Whedon on Holly Harris. They're going to go into the final lap and battling for that final step on the podium. Matt Birkin has a look and a glance behind to see where Josh has ended up, and luckily for him, he just about managed to keep it going. Wasn't quite Marquez style as he was sliding down the exit of this corner. You see here that Matt is navigating his way around, and now into turn 8 at Oziers, and on the quick exit, the right flick there down the back straight, lifts the front tyre, already celebrating down the back straight, and he's going to make it a perfect 3 from 3 here at Whilton Mill in his return to the championship. Matt Birkin, celebrate your way around the line, because here you come. The hat-trick of victories is yours across the line. Matt Birkin is a triple race winner here. Josh Birkin is going to come home in second position. Who's going to get it on the line? It's going to be Holly Harris who's going to have the run to the line. She's going to pick up another podium. Holly Harris with third position ahead of Andy Whedon, and Bernie Hook falling down and cruising to 5th place, and behind Nick Bennett and Craig Ashall and Aston Dean will still be battling out over 6th, 7th and 8th, but great race once again from Matt Birkin.
Yeah, Matt Birkin controlled the race at the front beautifully, and it wouldn't be a senior mini-moto race at Whilton Mill without Josh Birkin crashing out, rejoining and still getting himself on the podium. So 2 thirds and 1 second place for Josh Birkin. He'll be looking next time out to try and stay on the bike a little bit more, but he'll be happy to be picking up points and podiums.